Live from Television Hill in Baltimore, Maryland, you're listening to The Jimmy Mathis Show.
The problem is they need to tack back to what the true conservative Republican message is and stop trying to turn the party into some hybrid of what the Democrats are. But Obama, he's upset because our security, it didn't do its job. Our security was the Libyan rebels. He's blaming the guys that firebombed the consulate for not securing it. It's not the convention of the Republican Party. Right. It's the convention for conservatism. Right. And if anybody wants to call up and defend John McCain as a conservative, that's laughable. So calling McCain out, who has been a disaster to this party for years, I believe is completely appropriate at CPAC. But there is something to perception is reality. And when you have an assassination of an ambassador and you have your consulate being firebombed on the anniversary of the most horrific day in American history, maybe you should be in Washington. He's the leader of the party, and he's feeding in to the very rhetoric that we need to kill. We're the party of the old white man. How do you say that on Face the Nation? When you have a country right now that is going through the hurt and pain that it is, when you look at a half a century of failed democratic policies when it comes to the welfare nanny state, everything from Lyndon Johnson's Great Society moving forward, the trillions that we've put into the war on poverty, the total elimination of the middle class, when you have a primetime opportunity to speak about what your message is, how do you use a preamble to it, being what a disaster your party is?
The only reason why I'm even bringing this up is because it does dovetail into the conversation I'm going to get into later in the program on these drone strikes, or the drone program, speaking to some remarks that Rand Paul made about he's evolved on his drone stance, getting rid of the Constitution, getting rid of civil liberties, having police officers go to 1,000 different houses doing warrantless searches at the barrel of a gun. That's terrorism. It's not 3,000 people losing their lives on 9/11. As horrific as that is, it's not 200 people getting maimed during the Boston Marathon or 3 people losing their lives. That's not terrorism. It's losing what the American way of life is. That's terrorism. The Department of Homeland Security, whose budget has now surpassed TARP and the New Deal combined when adjusted for inflation. 2 endless trillion-dollar wars, losing our credibility on the world stage. That's terrorism. Giving up civil liberties in the name of safety. That's terrorism.
Jimmy, drive down Baltimore Street, see who's working. Drive and look who's employing.
That's the message. What's the unemployment rate?
Double digits.
Correct. And what's it in the young black community?
30%.
What is home ownership in the black community? What is the ability to go to college? That is what we bring to you. We're trying to elevate you. How has it worked, okay? Being servants to the federal government. This is the problem with being enslaved to a federal government.
Right.
That is why what the Republicans, what conservatism stands for, is being dependent on yourself.
Now, what you just said,
I find it offensive when people say that the messaging for the Republican Party, it's not inclusive enough. It's not inclusive enough when it comes to blacks. It's not inclusive enough when it comes to Latinos. It's not inclusive enough when it comes to Asians. My message would be, is there really that much of a difference between us? Don't most of us want the same thing? Go make a decent living, put a roof over your head, food on the table, a vacation a year, enough money for whatever your vice or hobby may be in the world. Is that really that different from a middle-aged white guy or a black guy or a Latino? Is it really? We're talking about securing the borders. We have a president that's going to Colorado, that's suing Arizona, that's coming here to Baltimore, telling mayors not to enforce basic federal immigration policy.
So what is that? Now, how do you message that?
I just did.